is it possible to make money with an EA without trading at all? What is an EA? An EA is an algorithm that trades according to predefined logic. Other words for an EA is a trading bot or a trading robot. It has nothing to do with the company EA Sports, EA Gaming. Just to clear that up. If you are familiar with the channel, you'll know about Euro Surge, you will know about Gold Surge, EAs that I have created and have available for you guys. I want to just quickly explain to you how I see an EA. Now, in order to code an EA, it requires you to have some form of understanding of how the market works and just trading in general. There are a million ways to achieve the same results. The ultimate goal is to make money. You are not here watching this video because you are simply bored. You are here because you want to know how to make money. Now, there are a million ways of achieving that goal using trading, for example. And in trading, there is an unfathomably huge amount of different strategies, all of them attempting to achieve this goal. I want to explain to you how I see an EA. I see it as a tool in a toolbox, right? In a toolbox, you've got multiple tools. You don't just have one tool in that box. If you do, well, you won't be able to fix things very well. You need to have a lot of tools. These are tools. This is a hammer. This is a screwdriver. They both have completely different functions. A hammer cannot do the job of a screwdriver, and it goes both ways. The screwdriver cannot do the job of a hammer. Now, why am I telling you this? Because many people think you just need one EA and your life's problems are solved. That is not the case. No one would put all of their money in only one investment, right? See this as different investments. Not all investments make the same amount of money all the time. The same applies with EAs. A good example that I have, and using a system that I do not have public yet, I am not sure if I want to make it public because there are certain things that I want to protect, because if too many people use the same thing, it generally stops working. It's the same logic that goes into basic economics as supply and demand. If too many people do the exact same thing, that particular thing becomes contested and no longer makes money. It's the same as selling a particular product. If you only sell bread and eggs at your store, and you are the only one selling bread and eggs, you have monopoly over those products and therefore can charge what you want to. But as soon as multiple stores start selling the same thing, your profit margins become a whole lot less, and some companies even take a loss on bread and eggs in order to get you into the store and buy other products that make profit. So the same applies with trading. Anything realistically to do with the market has to do with supply and demand, and that is the same thing. But my point is that this year, my one account, this is only one of many, but using this particular strategy, which I don't have available yet, has made around $9,000 this year. It started this year with just over 4,000, all right? So it started just slightly over 4,000. I think it was 4,300 odd, and made 9,000 in 7 months. But that isn't the whole story. The account started at 2,500 and only made around $1,800 last year for the first 4 months, and counting the past 7 months this year, which is now technically 8 months, it made 9,000. The first 4 months of running, it only made $1,800. Now it does compound, but it's not a night and day difference. My point with this is that my projection for this year for that particular account was a lot less according to the backtesting. So I have withdrawn majority of those profits, that 9,000, for example, because I don't think that can be replicated all the time. It's probably going to make a lot less money until the end of this year, but I can be wrong. And the next year, it might not make any money whatsoever. And that is why I have multiple strategies in multiple different accounts to compensate for those particular strategies or accounts or EAs that do not make any money for that year. We might make a loss on one account, but make a lot more than what we have projected in different accounts using different strategies. Where that all comes back to is that the one account where the hammer applied was making all of the money, whereas the account where the screwdriver applied isn't making money because the screwdriver is not yet relevant. I hope this makes sense. With the analogy of having a tool set, you have multiple EAs running multiple different strategies, and some of them will make money, whereas others will not make money, but not all of the time. I hope that makes sense, because if you do this for a living, if you trade for a living, you'll very quickly realize that it's not as simple as having one account with one strategy and just kind of hoping for the best. Because if you do that, you set yourself up for failure. I do this full time. I do have other projects that I work on that generates income as well. I have very quickly learned to always have different forms of income so that if the one falls away, you've got something else to fall back on. And the same applies with trading. I've been doing this seriously and full time for the past 2 years now. I think I started like in 2018, but never done it seriously. Initially, when most people start with trading, it's always the get rich quick sort of approach. That's the information that you consume, is to get rich quick, as opposed to how do I do this long term? How do I make this part of my income structure? It's the same as somebody who has property and leasing out that property. It's an investment that you make, but you're not trying to get rich quick. You are just trying to make an additional form of income. That is the approach that I have to trading. Now, to get back to the question that I asked in the beginning of, can you make money using an EA without even trading? And the answer is yes, you can. The reason why I bring it up is I had 2 individuals ask me this question last week, and I thought if 2 individuals ask me this question, it is more than likely possible that more people are thinking about it. So I would rather answer it here. I had this question from 2 individuals who have their own following, who they want to make these EAs available to. However, they want a cut of the money, right? Which is fair. I have no problem with that as long as they are willing to do technical support, which is something that does consume quite a bit of my time with many of the users. Now, I have mentioned before that the price for Gold Surge will be going up on the 15th. It is the 5th of August as of this recording. So in 10 days, the price will be going up. The reason for that is that Gold Surge is a project where multiple parties are involved to basically get the logic functioning. At the base level, I did create the EA, although I needed help with other individuals refining that logic and trying to get it to do what it does today. And just to go on a quick tangent, Gold Surge has evolved quite a bit. This is the latest version, so it's Gold Surge Phantom and has a lot more other inputs, but I will go into those details in another video. But the reasoning for Phantom is that it does not place pending orders. You now have the option to change pending orders to hidden pending orders, and because the pending orders as default are set to hidden, Phantom is just a play on that. So that allows the spread filter to be a lot more accurate. You are not putting all of your cards on the table, telling the broker where you intend to do what, so that they don't artificially open the spreads when that trade is executed. It does show a lot more promise with the current version, although there are a lot of things to consider, such as your broker, but there will be more details about that in a video dedicated to explaining those changes. So getting back to reselling gold surge or euro surge to your community, if you have a community, I had to think about how to approach that. I have been thinking about a structure of making licenses available to you. So it'll be sold to you at a wholesale price, and you then mark it up and basically make your profit from having it being available to your community. One individual, for example, has quite the large Facebook following, and he does do trading stuff, but wants to use this as well, make it available to his community and say, hey, this is an EA that I've been using. You can use it for X amount a month, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to do this with many people because it is going to be very time consuming for me to accommodate this, because it all will still run off of my server. But this is a good opportunity to monetize a large audience, giving them the opportunity to make additional funds and to just quickly go to, for example, with Euro Surge, something I don't disclose on my videos is that a lot of the trades I do close manually. In theory, if you let it run on its own, it should be able to make money according to the back testing. Although sometimes you can just logically see, let's say, for example, at this point over here, it wants to start selling. This isn't a good point where we want to sell. This is also the latest version of Euro Surge, which I haven't updated yet. It has a lot of new functionality. That is something that I'll have to make a dedicated video on, with the new features of Gold Surge, with the new features of Euro Surge. Now, this version of Euro Surge is basically what inspired Gold Surge. It has the pullback, it has a breakout strategy that is now included as well, basically giving you multiple strategies in one EA. So you can have, I think at the current stage, you can comfortably have two completely different strategies with two completely different trade styles that yield some reasonable results. And that is the inherent problem with an EA, is that it won't know, for example, over here, that the price more than likely will be going up, because it doesn't look at things visually. It doesn't look at the candles. It just has a set of rules. If this happens, then I do that. A lot of if statements. So that is basically how an EA works. The new one also just has buy. So in a trending market, if it's trending higher, you can then set it to only take buy positions. In a downward market, you only allow sell trades, although you can have it do both. At default, it will buy and sell, but you get to refine your strategy, and it only takes a couple of minutes every day to look at what the market is doing. So you just look at the hourly, at the 4 hour, and just try and figure out what the trend is and what you want to be doing. Now, it's going to be different for everyone. That's why I don't really sit there and hold your hand. I give you the tool and really hope that you do your due diligence to try and figure out how these things work. If you don't know how to use a hammer, right? You know, in theory, it's meant to hit in a nail. But if you've never used a hammer before, you're going to be pretty rubbish at hitting in nails, all right? So it does take practice. It does take experience to use a tool, which an EA is, very effectively. If you can't use it effectively, at the end of the day, you will probably run into some issues. By basically white labeling these EAs and using them for your own community, I have to make this point quite clear. It is not going to be available to everyone because it is going to take a lot of time for me. And as things will grow, maybe toward the end of this year, I will try and automate that process, have a dedicated server or some inputs or some way for you to interact and do things and reduce the amount of things that I need to do. But yeah, I am open to that. So if you are interested, I would recommend sending me an email. If you are a member on Patreon, you can send me a message there, or you can hop onto the channel page and right over here, you click on more and view email address. You just click on that and it'll take you to my email address, and you can send me an email and we can have a chat and discuss a couple of things. I would recommend that you do trade your own system that you recommend to other people so that you can show them and be knowledgeable about what it is that you are making available to other people. It is quite hypocritical to expect other people to trade your system when you do not trade it yourself. Do you not then trust your system enough to trade it? So that is something just to consider. And when I say your system, the system that you are putting your name behind or the system that you are condoning. And depending on your audience size, just once again to get back to the individual with the large Facebook following, having a large, I believe it's something in the 10,000s of followers on Facebook, you can make quite the substantial amount of money from having people use your system. But at the same time, when having people use it, you need to make sure that you are there to support them and help them with any issues that they may run into. You can add value by posting things that you do. So for example, something that I don't do, but you can do, is say, I closed all my buy trades for this week, right? We're only selling. So this week we're only selling. And whatever happens next week we're only buying. With Euro Surge, for example, with Gold Surge, you might change your spreads, right? You might change some logic there. You're changing this here. You're changing your trailing stop. That is all information that you can give to your viewers, your followers. So yeah, that is just adding an additional bit of value that people might appreciate. That might be something that I do, but I do a lot of things. This isn't the only thing that I do in my day-to-day life. So a lot of things I do, and I don't think about it until after the fact. Unless I've got more people part of this project that can handle certain communications or things for me, that might not be something that I can personally do at this current point. But yeah, I'm keeping my options open. As this project does grow and improve over time, that will be something that inevitably will be introduced. At the current moment, I do a lot of maintenance on Euro Surge and Gold Surge, and once I feel there is a relevant amount of improvement, I will have it available as an update. I think these are pretty solid the way they are right now. I do have another project that I'm working on, but as things become a lot more complex and complicated, it does take longer between projects because we are looking at multiple different strategies, and finding something that works is the most difficult part. After that, you've got to refine it. I know this video didn't really cover a lot of trading. It's more a businessy sort of video, but I thought I should make it because I do get these questions, and if from a small community I'm already getting these questions, it might mean that more people are thinking about it. And if it's an opportunity for you to make a couple of $100 or a couple of $1,000 extra in a month, all right, this doesn't mean you shouldn't trade or you shouldn't whatever. It's just a way to add to your profile, to your income. So you've got money coming in here, money coming in there, and so it continues. And that's how you have a diversified income portfolio. And that's something that you should be most certainly working towards. But yeah, that's all I have for you for today. I hope this was informative, and I hope that you have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video.